This is Joshua Farnsworth. Welcome to my traditional woodworking school. In this video, Will Myers will show you how to cut out and shape a round tabletop using simple hand tools like a bow saw, a compass plane, and a spokeshave.
We are down to the top, which is the last of the 6 pieces of wood in this table. And I'm going to use this wide board that I have here. This is a pretty hard thing to find. You know, we can get one full-size top without gluing anything up. So odds are you're going to have to glue up top is what I'm getting around to. So try to, especially if you're using cherry, because cherry seems to show glue lines pretty well. Be kind of careful in matching, whatever boards you're using, whether you use 2 or 3 or however you want to do it. The original at Hancock, the diameter of the table was about 16 7/8, if I remember right, say 17. And I've seen lots of photos of these things different folks have built, and they seem to want to make the top bigger, which kind of overwhelms the base, and it would make it unstable too because it's overhanging the legs so much. But somewhere 16 to 18 works real well, I think, or looks good anyway and works well. So on this wide board here, you got your pieces, you kind of like this one, we've got a little bit of a ugly spot here. And then this side is really, I think, the better of the 2 sides. So we're going to put this side up. Be sure and do your layout on the bottom. I don't know how many of these I'll be in a hurry, and I've done, and I've done my layout on what I intended to be the top. So be sure you're on the bottom. And this one, I think I can get about an 18-inch top out of it, because I've got just a little bit of sapwood over here. So just going to kind of roughly measure what I think is going to be the center, which is going to be about right here. Make a mark. And then this way. And I've got the little doty spot, and grain gets kind of funny right there. So I'm going to come over this way. And this top I'm going to make about 18. So we'll go about right here. I'll measure back one more time just to be sure. Yeah. So right there's my center. And just, at that point you can just use your dividers and set them to, which these are already set. You need to make a little mark right there, or a little pocket for it to run in. So make sure we're going to reach. We're going to just miss that sapwood. Okay, so now we're just going to go ahead and swing around and make a mark. And if you don't have a pair of dividers that will reach this far, or you don't necessarily have to have a set that uses a pencil. You can use just a set with 2 ends and scratch the line. Works just fine. And another option would be to use, a little piece of wood. You can use a couple tacks, one for a pivot point and one for a scratcher, and drive it, your tacks through at whatever radius you want. So while I'm at it, we're going to actually do a little chamfer on the bottom edge of the top, and I'm going to go ahead and lay that out now. This outside line that I just laid out is, of course, the diameter, and that's where we're going to saw to. So come in about maybe 3/4 or so. 5/8 to 3/4. It doesn't have to be a whole lot, so like that right there might be just a little much, but we'll go with it. And make a second circle. Okay, so that's all there is to the top layout, not much to it. So now we're going to move it over here to the vise and start sawing. And just saw around and cut this piece out. And then we'll be ready to work on the edges. So I'm just going to clamp it up here, and it's big enough. Put it up pretty high. Tighten the saw up. And here again, same bow saw. Coping saw would still work on this. You may have to take a hand saw and knock some of your waste off because you don't have as big a throat, but it'll sure do it. So I'm going to go ahead and get my saw started. All right, we have a top cut out here. And of course you can see the edge is very rough, so we've got to do a little work on that. And I also explained this second line right here. So we will get more and see my layout lines. Most of this is done with a spokeshave, and there's several different ways to handle this edge, but you've got to remember it reverses grain. Grain is flowing this way, so we've got to work this way through here, back this way on this side, back this way. So your grain turns all the way around, and you've got to, these areas where it meets and reverses, kind of be careful, watch for those so you don't tear out places and make more work for yourself. But just this is just exactly really like shaping the legs, what we did earlier. We're just roughing it in right here with this coarser shave. And as you come across this end grain, of course, skewing it always helps. This shave is taking a heavy bite, doesn't like that end grain too good, but it'll do it, especially kind of work it there a little bit. And just watch your layout line and just follow it right on down. And for right now, you can use your finer shave. Sometimes when you're coming across this end grain, you'll kind of tear out, pull some of the wood out, and a good sharp shave, and the finer set it is, the better that works out. So.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying watching our video so far, and I just want to take a few seconds to let you know about our traditional woodworking store, which you can visit while taking a class or by visiting our website at woodandshop.com/store. You'll find our amazing products to help you grow in traditional hand tool woodworking, including in-person and video woodworking classes, woodworking hand tools and workbenches, woodworking plans, traditional wood finishes, shirts and hats, and cool hand tool woodworking gifts for you or your loved ones. Okay, back to the show.
Okay, as you see, I come around here now, the grain's going the other way. So I'm going to be coming back this way now. And it just works around the whole top, just exactly like this. And this is, you know, pretty much the same thing as shaping the legs was. So you can kind of see where we're getting to there. It doesn't take long. Just biggest thing is keep eye on your layout line, and you know, try not to go, you know, make a flat spot somewhere that you're gonna have to take more wood off somewhere else to fix. So there we go. Now you can quit right there as far as the rounding. Might want to spend a little more time than I have on some of this. This one's of course still a little rough in places, but it's close. But there's other tools. This right here is a let's see, wait, a number 20, I believe. Yeah, 20 Stanley, and it's called a compass plane, rounder plane. Lots of different names, and it's essentially works just like any other plane, but it takes humps off of a something circular like this, and it works quite well. But that said, they're kind of expensive nowadays, and they're around. I'm not going to say they're rare, but they're not as common as some planes. But if you have one or have access to one, they do a great job of taking, you know, the high spots off and just leaving a nice round edge, and you can hear it. And once it starts cutting pretty much all the way, well, then you know your flat spots are pretty much gone. But you can do that, and it really does a good job. It's a little harder to use on this tighter radius top. It works, you know, a little better on something that's not quite so sharp. Not in so much that it works good as in the result, but it works you to death in the process. Okay, that is an option. Another option is a sanding block. Just use sandpaper and take a scrap block. You might want something a little wider than your cutoffs here, and cut it to the, you know, just slightly larger radius. Work that around, get a nice circle. That works good. Or just the spokeshave. You'll probably be able to fill a few little humps and bumps, but you know, it's up to you. But I mentioned one other thing here before we get ready to mount this. A little chamfer on the bottom side. We made a second layout line here. And what I usually do there is just use your digital marking device. We're going to make this top look like more towards 1/2 inch instead of this one's just slightly over 5/8. So just come up, you know, an 1/8, 3/16, and bring you a line around like that. Not much to it. Get where I can see it there. Okay, and then here again, just the spokeshave's all you need. And this doesn't have to be, you know, you want it neat and smooth as you can get it, but it's actually facing down, so you really don't see it. But it gives the top the illusion of being thinner than it is. which is kind of neat. It lightens the look of the table a little bit. And just start out and just bring it down till you're getting, we're coming down closer to this line and the inside one. And I cut this usually fairly flat. If it's a little rounded, it's okay, but you can kind of get on that right angle there, holding the shave. It's just easier to cut it flat. And you kind of see it starting to happen there. Now I've got my grain just getting ready to reverse right here. Well, must be diving a little bit right there. Okay, and I'm sure you can see what's happening here. And just come back with you shave a little bit finer. And just come down till that pencil mark just disappears. And you can see what we've done. We've got a thicker top, and now we've got a much more narrow edge. And then last, I just do a little round edge, and kind of like what we did on the legs, I'll make a couple of just straight facets to begin with, top and bottom. Grain reversing right here, just like that, and then come back with your finer shave and just ease that right over. Scraper doesn't work very good on this edge, so after the spoke shave, you would probably want to, if you want to get rid of any little bit of facets that's left there, use a little bit of sandpaper. But now a scraper will work on this bottom little chamfer if you want to smooth it up a little more. But that's pretty much it. Just go around the top and finish that up. And so now at this point, get the top shaped up, we're ready to mount it, and then we're pretty much be done.
If you're interested in learning traditional woodworking, come take a class at our school in Earlysville, Virginia. You can also visit our website at woodandshop.com, where you'll find a bunch of free woodworking lessons, workshop tours, and our very popular tool buying guides. And make sure you subscribe to our free newsletter to get our latest articles and videos. Enjoy!